Welcome back to my channel. As you can see from today's get up, ponytail, headband, I'm doing a get ready with me, and this is another all drugstore get ready with me. Now this is a little different than the last one because this is not all first impressions. Some of it is, and I'll tell you as we're going along if I haven't used it before or if I have and kind of what my thoughts are on it. But the palette that I am using today, I actually have not used before. So the palette that I'm using today is this Maybelline Total Temptation palette. Now this palette has two distinct sides. One is cool tone, one is warm tone. I'm going to use the warm tone today just because I feel like I've been wearing a lot of cool tones lately, and so I want to do a warm tone look. But I have not used this palette. It has two highlighters here in the middle that I think definitely could be used for your eyeshadow as well. So, but I have not tried this. I've swatched it some. It seems very creamy, very pretty. I feel like maybe on the warm tone side, it is missing a shade that you may need, but I'm going to try to do it without it just to see what we can achieve with this palette and this palette alone. So I'm playing around a little bit with my lighting, so I hope it's not too bright. I feel like some of my other videos have been too bright, so we're going to see exactly how this works out. So I'm going to zoom in, we're going to get up close and personal, and we're going to get started. Okay, so here we are up close and personal. First, I'm going to put some lip balm on. This is the Milani Keep It Smooth lip balm, and I'm just going to hit a little of that on my lips because my lips feel kind of dry this morning for some reason. I'm not really sure what's going on with my lips, but I needed some extra hydration. Now, I've done all my skincare, and first, I'm going to prime my skin. I'm using the Wet n Wild Photofocus Face Primer. I'm using the Wet n Wild Photofocus Face Primer. Now this has a tint to it, and I've used this before. I actually really like it. I've used it a good bit this week, and I find that it really does the job of a primer. It feels hydrating, and my foundation seems to really last when I use it. Next up, and first time use, are Candy Cocunut Water Priming Stick. Priming sticks really have seemed to become the rage, and this is kind of what it looks like. I'm just going to put it around my mouth, on my cheeks, and down my nose. It smells nice. It feels really good. I have not used this before, but I know that Smashbox has come out with one. And this may be a dupe for it. I don't have it, so I can't really tell you, but I know it just feels extra hydrating on the face, which feels really nice. So we're going to try that out, see how that goes. Today's foundation is the LA Girl Pro Coverage HD High Definition Long Wear Illuminating Foundation. Man, that is a mouthful. I have heard that this is a dupe for the Makeup Forever Ultra HD, which is one of my favorite foundations. I have worn this and I really liked it. I didn't wear it for a long period of time, so I can't really say to speak about its lasting power, but today I'm going to put it to the test. So I'm going to take a damp beauty blender. I'm going to dab my beauty blender into the product, and I'm just going to start patting it on the skin. I am in the shade 644 Natural, and I feel like it is just a perfect match, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm back to using my beauty blender. In my last drugstore tutorial or get ready with me, I don't like to use the word tutorial, even though sometimes I accidentally do because I'm not a makeup artist, but I use the Morphe sponge. I just love the beauty blender. Okay, so let's talk about the coverage of that foundation. You can see it covered up my redness really good. It covered up my sunspot nice. I don't even really feel like I need to go in with any extra concealing around the face. I am going to conceal my under eye, but I don't really feel like I need concealer in other places. It is glowy. I feel like it is dewy, but it also, I did use the Wet n Wild Dewy Prime. I do think that that probably added to some of the glow. I also can tell it's a little wet, so that's sometimes why it still looks glowy. It needs to kind of sit for just a second to kind of sit on my skin, and then we will see how glowy it truly is. Okay, so I have a confession. My battery died on my camera, so I had to go charge it for a few minutes, but I have not done anything else to my face, but the foundation has had some time to kind of sit and set, so we will start with concealer. Concealer that I'm using is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Full Coverage Concealer. It claims to be waterproof. I'm not sure if it's actually waterproof or not, but I have used this. I do really like it. It is a, the color that I have is, what is the color? Porcelain 010. It does not come in a lot of shades, which is a little bit of a complaint that I have with it. I think this is maybe the middle shade, but I really do like the concealer itself. It also smells really nice. Like really nice. Okay, so concealer is now done. So I'm gonna set my face, and I'm using the same powder that I used in my last drugstore video because y'all, I've fallen in love with this powder. This is the Wet n Wild pressed powder, the Photofocus pressed powder, and y'all, I have to say that it could be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I have been wearing this all week. Now to bronze my face, and I'm using the same bronzer from the last video. This is the e.l.f. bronzer, and it is in the shade Golden. And I'm just going to use that to warm up the face. Now onto a first time use product. This is the Rimmel, and it is called 002 Coral Glow, but what it is kind of like a contour palette. So you can see we have highlight up here, contour, and then a blush. So I'm going to take my Real Techniques contour brush. I'm going to dab it in this contour shade. I'm going to tap some off, and I am just going to use that to kind of darken up my contour. And I'm going to take my brush and blend that out. Now I'm going to set my under eye, and what I'm using to set my under eye is the Flower Beauty Miracle Glow Satin Finish Powder. And this, it comes in this beautiful container. It says Flower Beauty right there. And I'm just going to use that to set my under eye. I'm taking this Flawless Face Brush by e.l.f. I'm just going to really put it right there. And I'm going to carve out some contour. I'm going to use my Real Techniques brush to kind of dust any excess away. I've used this powder a couple of times. It does have a little bit, let me see if I can put some to show you. It has, you can't really see it, but it has a slight sheen to it, but I think it's really pretty. So far, I like it. I don't love the packaging. I find it hard to get the top on and off good, but it is drugstore. It is, I think, around $15. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Now moving on to blush, and I'm going back into my Rimmel palette, and I'm using this shade right here, which is called Coral Glow. It's just a warm blush, just to give me some color on my cheeks. And I feel like my lighting is off because I don't have as much color, as much light over here as I do over here. So I'm going to kind of tweak some light. That is better on the lighting. So that is the blush, bronzer, contour, concealer, foundation, powder. All of that is done. So now we are going to move on to the eyes. And before I do the eyes, I'm going to pop off camera and do my brows real quick. And I am using the Brow Stylist Definer by L'Oreal. Okay, I'm back. This is definitely one of my favorite brow products from the drugstore. It's actually probably one of my favorite brow products in general, and you really just can't beat the price. To prime my eyelids, I'm using the NYX eyeshadow base. This is in the color, I think it's called Skin or Natural, and I'm just taking a concealer style brush from Coastal Scents to just get that on my eyelid. And I will buff it in with my finger. I just have a hard time getting my finger down in here, so I like to use this brush. Okay, now moving into the palette, and like I said, I was going to use this warm side of the palette. Before I dive into the palette, what I am going to do is I am actually going to go back to the contour kit, and I am going to take this contour shade right here in the middle on a Morphe M441, and I am just going to place this in the crease. And for me, because I have hooded eyes, I am going to go above the crease. I just want a good transition shade, not saying that there's not one in there, but they all look a little bit maybe dark for a transition shade for me. So when you're taking a palette with you, or if you have a palette and you find that there's not a good, just solid kind of lighter transition shade, I always go to my bronzer. It's just the best way to put down that base color in your crease. Now I am going to go in with this darker brown up here in this top corner right here. Same brush. I'm going to tap it off, and I'm just going to darken up that crease. Now that that shade is done, I am grabbing my Morphe M433, and I'm going to go in with the shade right below that brown. It's kind of a little bit of a peachier shade, and I am just going to put that in the crease as well. And sometimes when I'm doing my eyes, because I do have hooded eyes, I like to make sure I drop my eyelids and then just really go in so that when I am sitting like this, just normal resting face, you can see my shadow. And I find that if you just sit normal and take that brush above that crease, you can really make sure that you have some color there and makes your eyes not look so hooded. Now, like I've said before, I don't put a color in my brow bone because I don't want my brow bone to come any further out than it is. Some people do. I know some people with hooded eyes do. I just don't do that. I just don't think it looks great. So that's just something that you should, you can keep in mind. Now I'm taking the Sigma eye shading brush. This is the E55. You can see it's kind of flat. And I'm going to go in with this next color right here. It's kind of a peachy, let's say it's kind of a peachy sparkle. It has a slight sparkle. And I'm just going to place it on the lid. You can hear my wind chimes. It doesn't really have as much sparkle as I thought, and you know me, I want some sparkle. So I'm going to go in with the highlighter color right here, this gold, and I'm going to actually mix it with this champagne color right here. on that same brush, and I'm just gonna pack it. Oh, that's the sparkle I was looking for on my lid like that. Yeah, that's pretty. Kind of over that peachy color. Like that. Now I'm gonna take that smaller Morphe brush back and I'm gonna go into that lighter peach color, and I'm just gonna kind of put that in the corner. I think this is going to be the finished eye look except for liner. Now for liner today, I do have a new eyeliner. This is the CoverGirl Queen Vivid Impact eyeliner in the color Truffle. Now, it's hard to find CoverGirl Queen, but I did find a Walgreens that actually is not too far from me that carries the whole line of this, so I'm super excited about it because I've heard Marnie talk about this for a really long time. Okay, so I will say that when I purchased this at the drugstore, it was about $7. When I went to take the top off of it just then, I had a hard time getting it off, and when I finally got it off, the sharpened part flew off too. So I had to resharpen it. I want to show you the size of this. It's definitely smaller than than eyeliners you pick up at, say, Sephora, which might be more like $20. But so I just wanted you to realize sometimes, and I'm sorry Finley's barking, sometimes just because it's at the drugstore, it may not be the better deal. Okay. Now I am going to line my waterline. Now remember, this is the first time I've used this, so we're gonna see how it goes. It goes on the waterline very smooth. I just did the lower waterline. Very smooth. Now we're gonna try the top one, which I've told you in the past I'm not great at. I do feel like I have gotten a little better at it. I definitely do see what Marnie's talking about, because I find this to be just as good as my Ardency In liner, which is kind of what I hold everything comparable to. I'm not sure if this is, when I got my Ardency In, it was 50% off. A lot of times Ardency In does their products 50% off. So it was only $10, so it wasn't really that much more than this. I'm going to take an eyeliner pencil and kind of clean that up some on the top. Now back into the palette, I'm going to smudge out that lower lash line with this brown color right here. I'm also going to take this lighter champagne color and pop that in the inner corner. I'm gonna pop off camera, curl my lashes, put on some mascara, and I will be right back. So I'm back. I've curled my lashes. I haven't put on mascara yet because I wanted to mist my face and do some highlight. This is the Kokie Refresh Hydrating Setting Spray, which I have been using, and I'm really liking. As far as highlighters go, I have this one in the Rimmel, but I don't feel like it gives a whole lot of payoff, but I'm going to do a little bit of that, and then I think I'm going to go into the Maybelline palette and do some of that as well. So I'm taking a Wet n Wild brush. I'm going to tap that off, and as you can see, it doesn't really give a whole lot of payoff. It's kind of beyond subtle. I mean, it gives you a little bit, but y'all know me, I like a lot more. So I'm going to go in with this gold, and we're going to put a little bit on top. And I believe That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about highlight, right there. So that is the gold from the Maybelline kit. Now, as far as mascara goes, I'm actually going to prime my eyes with the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer. This is a primer that I really, really enjoy. This one is one that actually I probably need to put into the empties. But I'm going to use it this one last time. But I think it is a really good drugstore primer. Sticking with the Maybelline Total Temptation theme that I've got going with the palette, here, and I'm going to use the mascara. Now, I talked about this mascara in my first impressions, saying that I didn't just love it, I don't hate it either, so I just thought, why not? I would wear it today. Now for my bottom lashes, I am using the Wet n Wild Mega Slim Skinny Mascara, and this is actually in waterproof. Now moving on to lips. I'm actually going to line my lips with this NYX lip liner in 849 Beige, and it's just a neutral color. This is definitely just kind of a Your Lips But Better type color. So for lipstick, I'm kind of going to do something bright. This is Flower Beauty, the Mix and Matte Lip Duo in the color Melon Kiss, and it looks like this. The shade of this reminds me a lot of Charlotte Tilbury Super Cindy. It's a little bit more drying, but that's the reason you have this gloss on the other side. Which I'm just going to place on top like that. Okay, so this is the finished look. So I'm going to talk about what my thoughts are on each product that I used. So here we go, and I'm going to try to keep them in order, I hope. So first, well actually, very first, I had the Milani Keep It Smooth Luxe Lip Treatment. I put on my lips. I love this lip balm. It really rivals some higher end lip balms, so I will continue to use this. I love it. I actually keep it on my bedside table. Next up was the Wet n Wild Photofocus Face Primer, Dewy Luminous. I love this primer. I've been using it a lot this week. I don't think you can beat it for the money, especially if you are looking for something dewy. So I will continue to purchase this and to keep it in my stash and use it. Next up was the foundation, the LA Girl Pro Coverage HD High Definition Longwear Illuminating Foundation. This stuff is great. I think it is a total dupe for the Makeup Forever Ultra HD. I actually may like it a little better, and you can't beat the price. So I will continue to be wearing this, and yeah, I think if you are a fan of the Makeup Forever one, you should definitely try to get your hands on this. I am in the shade Natural. Next up was the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. It says it's waterproof. I cannot vouch for that yet. I have been using this. It does not crease under my eyes. It gives me a good coverage, not too much of a coverage. It smells great. It feels great. Shade range is not too good, but yeah, I really have been enjoying this concealer. Next up was the setting powder with the Wet n Wild Photofocus Press Powder. I love this stuff. This stuff is like Hall of Fame, great drugstore. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It makes your skin look flawless. It could be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder at a fraction of the price. Love, 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 love this stuff. Oh, I forgot to talk about the Hard Candy Coconut Water Primer Stick. I really liked this. It really hydrated my face in the areas that I feel like it needed hydration. I'm going to continue to use this, and I want to kind of see how the foundation sits on it throughout the day. So I will get back to you on this, but so far, this might be really good. Next up, of course, is the bronzer by e.l.f. This is in the shade Golden. I have been wearing this ever since I got it. It is just a no fuss bronzer. It is a bronzer that I feel like you really can't mess up because it is a light in shade, but it's buildable. So I really am enjoying using this. Next up was this little contour kit from Rimmel. This was interesting. So I really liked I can't say anything bad about the contour sculpting powder. It was good. It did its job. It has a nice color. It's that good kind of cool tone color. I liked the blush a lot. The highlight left a lot to be desired. I felt like the highlight was a big fluke. You could kind of have this palette with just the two, I think, and take the highlight out because it was just too powdery. You didn't really get a good payoff from it. But, you know, for travel, this would be great because it's very small. Am I going to reach for it often? Probably not, because I have contour kits that I like better, like the Kokie one. And then I have a NYX one I haven't tried yet from the drugstore, so I'm anxious to try it and see how it goes. But, you know, for the price, I do like the blush shade. So, yeah, it's not a huge fail by any means. I wouldn't say that this is the find of the century, but it's not terribly disappointing. Next up were brows, the L'Oreal Brow Definer. Love this. This is a dupe for Anastasia. It's a dupe for Benefit. It is a great brow product at a great price, and it's at the drugstore. So this is probably like my third one of these. If you are looking for a brow product at the drugstore, I would highly recommend this one. Next was the NYX Eye Base. Again, this is another product that I just love. I don't love the packaging because I would love to be able to get my finger down in it, but it's kind of a smaller packaging, but I don't mind using a brush. I really don't. It is a total dupe for the MAC paint pots. And it just, your eyeshadow isn't budging when you have this on your lid. Okay, so my thoughts on the Total Temptation palette. Not sure. I don't really love the color payoffs of the shadows. Not really necessarily the color payoffs, but I wish there was a darker brown. I kind of feel like I need a darker brown on my eye right now. But it was, they're very creamy. They're very buttery feeling. There's not a lot of fallout. They have good pigments. I probably would like the cooler tone side better. I feel like it kind of gives you more to work with. But I still kind of, sorry, that was my phone. I still kind of feel like I'm missing something there as well. Kind of just like a darker but not too dark of a shade. On this side I'm missing, and on this side I'm missing a dark brown. But yeah, it's a pretty palette. The highlight was really pretty. I'm wearing the highlight. I think it looks really good. For the price, I think this is a nice palette. If you are wanting a inexpensive palette where you can get a good solid cool tone look and a good solid warm tone look, I think you should pick this up. You might not be like me, and especially for every day. I mean, you know, you don't have to, I mean, this is a dark enough, this is an everyday wearable look. I mean, most of my looks are wearable. I'm 38 years old. I don't want to look like that Instagram look. I want to look a little more natural. But I do like to sometimes wear darker eyeshadow. But for the everyday look, I think that you can achieve this with the palette. And of course, the price is a nice price point. The eyeliner, the CoverGirl Queen Vivid Impact Eyeliner in Truffle. Y'all, this eyeliner is great, okay? So probably the best at the drugstore, I'm just gonna say it. Now, I haven't really tried a whole lot of drugstore eyeliners, to be honest, but this gives you a feel of a high-end eyeliner. Now, again, it's close to $10. It's around $7 or around $8. I think it was like $7.99 or something. Of course, you can find them. You can find coupons and that sort of stuff. Not the easiest to find because not every Walgreens carries the CoverGirl Queen. I just have a Walgreens close to me that does, and I happened upon this, so I was excited about that. But it's really a movable, creamy liner that goes well in your waterline. So yeah, this was definitely a good fine. Backing up, the Flower Beauty powder. Loved this to set my under eye. It kind of has a little bit of a sateen finish. It's not glittery, it's not shimmery, but it just kind of gives you a glow. I think it looks great under the eyes. I think it looks great carving out my contour. I don't love the packaging. It's very pretty, but it's kind of hard to get the top on and off. But I did enjoy this. So this was definitely on the side of being a good find. Next up was mascara. Of course, I have raved about the L'Oreal Voluminous Base. This is a good mascara primer. Probably what I would consider the best one at the drugstore. The Maybelline Total Temptation. It's good. It's not my favorite, but as you can see, I'm continuing to use it and I do like it. So if you are looking for a new, I feel like mascara is something that is a personal preference. So if you are looking for something that will stay on your lashes, it's not going to end up under your eye, you might want to check out the Maybelline new mascara. And I am loving the Wet n Wild Mega Slim Skinny Mascara. This is the waterproof one. I have not tried the one that's not waterproof, but I am tempted to pick it up as well. I think that this is a perfect dupe for the MAC extended play that I put on my bottom lashes. I have been really enjoying this and I'm looking forward to trying out the one that's not waterproof. As for the lips, this is the Flower Beauty Mix and Matte lipstick. Mine is in the shade Melon Kiss. If you are looking for a dupe that is similar, I don't think it's a straight dupe. I would have to swatch them and see. For Charlotte Tilbury Super Cindy, I think this is a very close shade to it, especially if you're just using the lipstick. When you put the gloss on top, I think it makes it a little bit orangier. But yeah, I like it. It feels good on the lips. Of course, I have the lip gloss on top of it, but it doesn't look shiny like a lip gloss. It really is more like a hydrator on top. But yeah, I like this a lot. I will continue to wear it. I like the color. I think it's pretty. Yeah, so those are my thoughts about, oh, lastly, sorry, the Kokie Refresh Hydrating Setting Spray. I love this setting spray. I think it's great. It's drugstore, it's Walmart. It doesn't break the bank, and it's a nice setting spray. So yeah, that's it. That was my thoughts on this drugstore Get Ready With Me. Everything on my face is drugstore. I want you to see how you can achieve a flawless look that looks really good by not breaking the bank. So if you have any questions about any of these products, please let me know below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video finds you doing well. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. I make videos about 3 times a week, or I upload videos about 3 times a week. And yeah, I hope this video finds you having a fantastic day and a great week, and I will see you all soon. Bye, y'all.